Hey everybody, this is Tyler from the library. In this video I'm going to be showing you how you can program a positional servo using MakeCode. So first up I'm going to make a new project. And I'm going to call this one Positional Servo Controller. And then we'll have a new project. So just like before, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Advanced tab right here, and then I'm going to click on Extensions. I'm going to add the Servo library. We have to do this every time we make a new project. You'll have to re-add the library. So click right here, add the library, and then you'll notice that that new tab is there, that Servo tab is there. So I'm going to click on that. This time, instead of using continuous section, I'm going to go to the positional section, and I'm going to grab this block right here. I'm going to put this inside a forever loop. We want this to happen over again. And you'll notice that servo is added, the pen number, so we're using pen 0 again this time, and that's matching up to our wire going to a servo. But you'll notice it's not really doing anything. It moved to position 90, and that's it. And just like before, we have two inputs. We can change the pen, and we also change the degrees. So this time it doesn't necessarily refer to speed, it refers to position. And the position goes from 0 degrees to 180. So I'm going to set it to 0, and then I'll hit play. And you'll notice that it goes all the way to here. And then if I go the opposite way, to 180, and I click play, it'll switch to the other side. And then, if you remember, right down the middle, 90 degrees, close enough. It should stop right in the center. So, what I want to do in this one is have our servo swing from 0 to 180 and back and forth, and just kind of keep doing that. And that is the strength of the positional servo, is that we can tell it to go to a specific spot and like wait there for a certain amount of time, and then go to another spot. So this is really great for if you're building an obstacle that had like a gate or like a mouth. We can open and close something. We can attach something to the servo horn, and we can open and close it or make it swing back and forth, as opposed to the continuous, which had us go in a circle the entire time. The positional is great for just swinging back and forth or opening and closing something. Okay, so to get this to go from 0, so I'm gonna have our starting out to be 0, and we want it to go the other way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add another block to this. We're gonna make sure we're on the same pin, so we're using pin 0, and we're gonna have it go to 180. But if I do it this way, you'll see it kind of freaking out. I'm like, what is happening is that, yes, it started out at 0, and we told it to go to 180, and it did that, and it's trying to go back to 0, but because we didn't tell it to how long it needs to wait here, or how long does it have to travel back and forth, it's trying to execute these instructions immediately. Because the computer doesn't know what we want it to do, or the microbit doesn't really know what we want it to do, so we have to tell it. So what we want to do is add another block in here that tells the servo to like wait for a little bit. And you can find that block underneath basic. If you scroll down a little bit, you're going to find the pause block. So pause MS. MS stands for microseconds. And we're going to do that. And we're going to add it in between right here. And we can pick a different time. So there are 1,000 microseconds in 1 second. So this is 1/10 of a second, that's 20%, or 1/5 of a second, and then 500 milliseconds would be half of a second. So I'm gonna start out with 1 second. And if I hit pause here, you'll see a little bit of movement, but it's still freaking out, because you have to think about how this forever loop is acting. So it says go to 0, pause for 1 second, and then go to 180. But then it executes back over again, and so we didn't add a pause after this one too, so it's immediately going back to 0. So we're just gonna to fix that, we just add another pause after each servo. And we want to use the same amount of seconds. And if we hit play, you'll see it getting a nice smooth. You may notice too that it's not necessarily waiting for a full second once it reaches this point, and that's because this also includes travel time. So it has 1 second to travel from each position, and then pause. Whatever time is left over, that's how long it's pausing. So if we actually want it to pause here for a full second, you probably need to increase this time. And you can change this to 2000 or 2 seconds. And then we get a full wait, and then it goes back. So it might actually be over a second, and you can play around with these different times. These are kind of preset times, but you can actually, if you want, you could type in how many milliseconds you want exactly. So if I only wanted a second and a half, so 1,500 milliseconds, you can type it in manually as well. So you may have to play around, depending upon your horn is attached to your servo, and like what the range of motion you want to, you probably have to play around these angles during your project to get it right. So this was going to require a lot of testing and retesting. And something I didn't get into the last video is that every time you make an update to your program, you have to re-download it and re-upload it to your microbit. So let's test it out on the servo that we have. So I'm going to click download, and the instructions will pop up here. You know, connect your microbit to your computer, and then drag and drop the folder over. Click X, and close that. And I'm going to open up my downloads folder. You can see our previous program is already there. Our new program was just downloaded, and our microbit is already connected. So I'm going to drag and drop that over here. And if everything is, once it's 100 and everything is connected properly, your servo should start moving immediately. You might be able to hear my servo moving in the background. And then you'll see, just for the camera, it's swinging back and forth, just like we programmed. It's waiting for a little bit and then swinging. But let's say that range of motion isn't exactly what I wanted, and I want to redo my program. Let's say, you know, the 180 was too much. I really only wanted to go to like 90. And again, just like with the microseconds, if we can't get that slider to the exact, we can tie it in right there. And you'll see it, we only need it to go that far. And like I said, anytime you make a change to your program, you have to re-download it and re-upload it to your microbit. So I made that change. I'm going to close this out. I'm going to go to my downloads folder. That's that. And you'll see it's now updated. And you'll see this little 1 right here. So every time, if you don't change the name of your program, it'll start adding numbers to it, so that way you can tell the difference between what is going on. Microbit's there, so whatever the highest new number is, that's probably the newest version of your program. So again, I'm going to drag and drop this into here. It should download immediately. And once it's finished, it should execute. Oops. Let me connect my servo. I turned it off. And there you go. And you'll see it go 0, 190. Okay, so thanks for watching. And that is a basic overview how to program your positional servo.